Hi everyone. Okay, hi guys. It's been a while. It is half year now. Today is the 23rd of June. For those of you who don't know, I'm Andrea Jackson Robinson. I am the co-founder of Valentine's Intimates, and I have had 17 years of experience working in corporate multinational organizations, working alongside senior business partners, finance, commercial, logistics, supply chain, end to end, right? So I was responsible for planning the budgeting and the strategic planning for organizations, working alongside with my key business partners. And so last year, May, I left my 9 to 5 and I fully ventured into my company, my business, Valentine's Intimates, in partnership with my mother, Pauline Valentine. And today, I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek about the journey of an entrepreneur, the first half year review, some key points to help someone who has been sitting on the sideline for a while, especially if you're doing your 9 to 5 and you have an idea that you've been sitting on. And I'm just going to share an interesting story with you before. So, this week, I got a WhatsApp message where I saw a company promoting themselves, and that company was an idea that I actually had to start in 2009 that I did not actually start. Okay, I had sent out an email, but I didn't push it, I didn't go any further. And when I saw the highlight, the company shared how it has employed over 1,800 third party contractors, workers. So it has done well from what I saw, right? And I'm glad that I did not repeat that same mistake because in 2019, which is 10 years later, I decided to start my business, Valentine's Intimates, back then with my mother, Pauline Valentine. And of course, the motivation was for me at the time was my mother, who was a street vendor, and I wanted to get her off the sidewalk. So I decided that I'm going to get a store and have her go there and operate from the store. And then COVID happened, and it just happened naturally. And then as I continued to grow in corporate, I was working alongside the group CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and I realized I wanted the flexibility, I wanted the peace of mind to do and enjoy both my family, my children, and not having to have any anxiety about deadlines. Yes, I have deadlines that I set myself, but I manage my own expectations, right? So, half year review 2024. I think there's two things that I want to share with you. One is there has been times when you will see a setback. And when you see that setback, your question that you should ask yourself is what is the root cause of this setback? And when you understand the root cause, then you need to address the root cause. Now, the reality for me, when I was in April of 2024, my numbers dropped below the prior year, so the year before. And when I took actions, the reality, the root cause was it of that was because I was seeing increasing customer complaints. I had about two or three customer complaints based on a store that I had working for me at the time at my Kingston location. So we have two branches, one in Kingston at 141 Harbor Street downtown, and another in Montego Bay at 49 Union Street, which we opened in December of last year, 2023. So I saw the setback, and instead of sitting and just continuing as business as usual, I stepped in literally. Like I used to work remotely mostly. I literally started going to the store and I had to let go that store rep. right? And then in May, May, that was the best month that I had in the entire year. I mean, all along we have been doing well, but May was just extraordinary based on one, certain strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you on a webinar that I'm going to be hosting on the 30th of June. So if you want to hear those strategies, join me on the webinar. You have to register though to join. All right. So one of the things I want to encourage you is if you see a setback, react as well immediately and pivot. Oftentimes what happens is that sometimes you see a setback and you sunk in your chair, and instead of pivoting to change course, you give up, right? And the reality for entrepreneurship, it is something where you have to keep pushing yourself because you're not guaranteed a salary at the end of the month, although you may pay yourself, like you pay yourself a salary, but it's your business, right? You have to ensure that you have a vision to switch as well as to pivot whenever you have a setback. And I can tell you, for the first half of the year, and it has not yet ended so far because we have about 7 more days, I have seen 30% plus growth in my sales, all right, my revenue. So that's something I want to encourage, especially persons who are doing their 9 to 5 jobs now, because a lot of times we get so complacent, and because your job have perks. I mean, I've been there. I know you're getting 6 figures in salary and you've gotten complacent because the reality is you're getting 6 figure in salary. But what happened is that eventually you are going to reach a point where either one, you would leave the organization because you are being made redundant, or two, you've reached your pension of a year, or three, you have some challenges in the organization and you just want a change of environment, or just an environment that you can feel like you can grow more, right? Now, after all that is said and done, the legacy that you've left behind is nothing that you can pass on to your children. Okay? I have 2 children of my own, so I know what it means to. I want my children to see and have fruits of my labor that they can pass on to their children if they so decide. All right? And interestingly, just yesterday I got some news, some sad news that one of my former colleagues had passed away. And I reached out to that colleague, a close friend of that colleague, who was also a colleague of mine as well. And during our discussion, he was just sharing with me about the challenge that that person who had passed away had faced with their HR at the time when he fell ill, right? And he didn't put anything in preparation. Now, the other friend, who is a colleague that is still around with whom I spoke, he also had his own ailments and he had put things in place while he was working. So he had something to keep him going, right? So, first half review was for me double digit growths in sales. I'm going to share some of those sales strategies because those are strategies that you can put in place and you should put in place even before you start to launch your store, which is what I do. I help women to launch their stores in 45 days. But there's one tool if you want to do it online, it's same principle work. And I cover 9 strategies based on global standards, multinational organizations as well. Okay. So the first half of the year review, there were setbacks. I had to pivot, I had to cut costs. The same principle applied to multinational organization. When they're not meeting the targets that they have set, they cut costs. Sometimes that may be redundancy. Sometimes that may be doing less, doing more with less, or changing the strategies from being what they call above the line strategies, where they're spending on advertising on television, to now below the line strategies where they're now spending on trade activity, whether that's getting in the bar and giving away products to sell something. So it's more in the street that you can directly connect with sales. Okay. So I am thankful for the first half of the year. I'm thankful for the setback because it allowed me to pivot and it allowed me to apply new strategies. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you and remind you of at the end of the day, no matter whatever you're doing, I don't care who you are, anything that you're building, you have to put God in it first because at the end of the day, He is the one that gives the increase. And the Word of God tells you that a man, if he builds his house on the sand, what is going to happen to that? And it also tells us that if it is that we do not work with God, we're laboring in vain. So it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So, year 2024, half year is about to wrap up in 7 days. I am having a webinar this Sunday, this Sunday coming, which is the 30th of June. It will be at 8 p.m. Jamaica time online on Zoom online. Once you're registered, you can join the seminar and you have to ensure that you're in the room to be able to join. Limited space are available, okay? And the second thing is there's going to be a private Q&A, so come with your questions. Ask your questions. For those that are aspiring entrepreneurs, as I told you, if you have an idea and you see somebody else with it, it's because you failed to act on it, okay? If you are an existing entrepreneur and you want to push up your game, come on in the room. My desire is to help as many persons to create multi streams of income because that's what the Word of God teaches us, that we should have 7 to 8 streams of income. It's not just your 9 to 5 job, okay? You need to have something else that you can multitask. So if one thing fails, you have something else and you keep going and you keep building on it. So tell a friend and join me on Sunday. The link for the registration, you can send me a WhatsApp at 876 868 3239. So that's 876 868 3239. And the auto message will give you the link for you to register. All right. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, and let's start getting the multiple streams of income and start towards building for the second half of the year. Have a good one. Talk soon. Bye. And remember, share it with a friend, okay? Take care, guys.